to another live video. We're going to be talking about today easy do-it-yourself mods for your 5.7 Hemi RAM or your 5.7 Hemi, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be sharing with you guys that in this live video today. So, welcome. If you're here for your first time on the channel, guys, I need you to help support the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also give this live a thumbs up, like this live, man, so I can so YouTube could get it out there to more people. But we're gonna be talking about the top three, or well, I wouldn't say top three, I'll say best do-it-yourself mods for your 5.7 Hemi RAM. That's what I'm gonna be sharing with you guys in this live today. So I'm gonna be driving though. The only thing is I'm gonna be driving doing this because I do gotta run a few errands. So hopefully you guys could be able to hear me on this live, because yesterday, I think when I went live yesterday, I was having, I don't know what it is though, but my Bluetooth in my car keep connecting to my live. So I don't think so. I don't know if you guys hear half of the stuff I was saying yesterday, but I didn't even know I was on live for like about 10-15 minutes before somebody commented down below saying that they couldn't hear me. But I'm gonna be sharing with you guys exactly some of the best do-it-yourself modification for your 5.7 Hemi RAM today. So give me 1 second. I gotta drive. I'm gonna be driving and I'm gonna be talking. So try to multitask. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. I don't want to get copyright. Put the window up a little bit because it's too loud. All right, so some of the best mods that you could do to your 5.7 Hemi RAM, do-it-yourself mods, I call it, do-it-yourself mods and stuff. First thing I want to share with you guys is, I would say, is an aftermarket cold air intake. Now, aftermarket cold air intake, I don't have any kind of specific cold air intake that I would say you should go with, but if you are gonna do an aftermarket cold air intake, I would say to definitely don't go with any kind of metal. Don't go with a metal cold air intake. Like the metal ones and stuff, more so is like a heat extractor, pretty much. It's not gonna help your truck, with being cooler, especially if you're somewhere that gets hot a lot. That's not like the best option for you. Just go over like the plastic ones. Now the one I have on my truck is called Air Raid Cold Air Intake. Honestly, to me, it's one of the best ones, and I have had this on the truck for about, maybe I'd say at least almost like maybe almost a year, I'd say. So I got the Air Raid cold air intake on this truck, and this thing, I ain't gonna lie, definitely is a beast, man. I ain't gonna lie, I had no issues with it. Very easy to install, and I think I paid about $380, somewhere around there, for my Air Raid cold air intake. I think I paid somewhere around there, somewhere around there, I believe. But down there's the ones that I was looking at, the Air Raid, the cold air intake that I was looking at before. I was looking at Corsa Performance, and then I was looking at there's another one too I wanted to get, but I ended up going with ended up going with the Air Raid cold air intake, which is the one I have on the truck now. And I think it's like one of the ones that you could wash it. I think you can wash it. It's not gonna have any kind of, it's easy to clean and stuff like that. So it's not one of the ones that requires so much. But I was thinking about doing a closed-in one though, because of that reason, because of how much dirt sits on there too. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. But I'm happy with the one I have on the truck now, and you can hear when I give it gas, you can hear the truck, like you can hear like that sound, like that Hemi sound, a lot more than before. So If you want to live, what I'm talking about is easy do-it-yourself mods for your 5.7 Hemi RAM. That's what I'm talking about. So I mentioned the first thing is the one I have on my truck right now. I have the air raid core intake. So obviously the first thing I would say is to get yourself a core air intake. Doesn't matter, but I would recommend that if you're doing a core intake, never go with like the metal cons, because it's not the best. It's not really gonna help your truck overall. It's like a heat extractor pretty much. So go with like the plastic ones though. Now the next thing on my list that I'm gonna be naming to you guys, the do-it-yourself modifications, is my next one on the list would be an aftermarket headers. Now headers is something that most people tend to do when it comes to, you trying to probably get sound. In my opinion, I think most people go with like long tube headers because of the sound. But sometimes some people might understand that, okay, it's gonna help with my performance and stuff on my truck, but mainly is because like the sound. But long tube headers, some of the ones out there that I like, that I recommend. Right now I think I like BBK long tube headers. I like what else? Damn, I can't even think about the ones that I have in my mind right now. I think Corsa also have long tube headers. There is, what else, man? There's another one out there, Cooks. Yeah, Cooks long tube headers is like my favorite one that I always mention. Is good for the Ram trucks in general. But I do know they have like kind of I know Cooks long tube headers, they fit on a truck, but you do got to do some adjustment. But the one, if I could recommend any kind of long tube headers for you, for your 5.7 Hemi Ram, I would say personally, just go with Cooks long tube headers. That's it. Go with that. I think that's one of the best in the brand. I mean, best in the game right now that you can get for any kind of car, especially for like the Hemi Rams. I think Cooks long tube headers is definitely one of the ways to go, yo. Definitely, I ain't gonna lie. So the first two I got. So I got first two things that I named already. If you want to live, so I named aftermarket core intake, and now I just mentioned long tube headers. And the ones that I like that I mentioned was the Cooks long tube headers. And then what else I mentioned? Let me see. I'm trying to think. I keep forgetting, man. But yeah, Cooks long tube headers is the ones that I like. And I think it's one of the best ones that you could get for your 5.7 Hemi Ram. I most definitely think so. But for you guys on the live right now, man, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure, help support your boy, man. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of Mopar, or if you're a car guy in general. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Definitely give this video a thumbs up too, man. I would definitely appreciate it. But those are my first two do-it-yourself modification I would recommend that you could do to your Hemi Ram. Next one in line would be for me the 6.4 truck intake. When I say the 6.4 truck intake, why? Because obviously it's the best when it comes to you trying to increase your performance on your truck. Especially to one thing I'll say, like the 5.7 Hemi ones that's on these trucks, they're not really more so that good, I would say, to be honest. So that's why most people who have like the Ram or trying to make power out of their truck, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they go with a 6.4 truck intake. And I also believe that you do get it ported and stuff like that. But believe it or not, with just that mod, when you add in that to your truck change, like you would notice like a huge difference in, like I'm saying, like performance, just by you doing just that one mod. And for that, to be honest, I think you could, that's you with that modification, I think those for a 6.4 truck intake manifold, think it's around somewhere around like $800. And then if you plan on getting it port it or stuff like that, or you could probably do it yourself. But I would recommend you just when you buying it, they have the option where you can just get it ported, but it's gonna be I think extra probably a couple $100 and stuff. So you're probably gonna be paying somewhere around like 1,300. But in all honesty, for me, I think it's worth it. It's only worth it if you plan on modding your truck and keeping it for a long time. That's why I'll say like any kind of modification I'm recommending to you right now. If you're not that guy who trying to make your truck fast or trying to race with your truck, but if you more so use your truck for working and stuff, I mean, you can still do like the 6.4 truck intake on your truck if you use it as a work truck. But for me, I don't use my truck as a work truck. But I think the 6.4 truck intake manifold is definitely the way to go. If you're trying to gain massive performance and stuff out of your 5.7 Hemi. So I named 3 so far. So I got the cold air intake, I got the long tube headers, and then I also mentioned just now a 6.4 truck intake. It's one of the best ones to go with. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, man, since I lowered this truck, like it's not low as hell, but it's not like it's slammed to the ground. I know this is off topic, but one thing, if you plan on lowering your truck, man, you gotta understand, yeah, it's gonna be bouncy as hell, man. Like this truck is super bouncy. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I still feel like I do gotta adjust the coilovers that's on here though, because it's like it's only like bouncy over like bumps, but it's not really as bouncy like that. But it's bouncy over the bumps. But right now, I do gotta adjust my coilovers though, because I see myself right now, I'm on live, and this truck is just super bouncy, kind of crazy, but it's only like that over bumps, like I mentioned. But now the next thing I would say to do is obviously one of the most thing that most people tend to do is to go with an aftermarket. What is that? I said aftermarket. What? I'm trying to think now. I forgot what I was supposed to say. But an exhaust system is one of the ones that a lot of people go with. Now I think you guys probably heard about B2. I think it's called B2 fabrication or something like that. Because I know most of the time when you're trying to buy exhaust for your truck, like I ain't gonna lie, like if you get an exhaust system for your truck, y'all understand, you're gonna be spending somewhere around like $1,500, like for a complete exhaust system. It's the same thing with long tube headers. For any kind of good aftermarket long tube headers out there, is you're gonna be probably looking at least $1,100, somewhere around there. But to me, it's worth it, though, man. Like, don't never buy any of your car parts from on eBay, unless it's like used OEM parts. But I wouldn't recommend you buy like headers from on eBay, or I wouldn't even recommend that you buy maybe you probably could buy like certain things you could buy from on eBay, but some parts like real aftermarket parts and stuff, I wouldn't recommend you buying any kind of those from on eBay. But for like I mentioned, B2 fabrication is one of a good, like I haven't owned a system. I thought about buying one for my truck before I did the muffler delete, but I haven't really, I end up going with a different decision. But I've seen a lot of Ram have their exhaust setup. I think they offer 3 different kind of setup. I think it's like the quiet, I think it's like a muffler delete, and then there's a real aggressive sound, and it's very affordable. I think the most you're probably gonna spend somewhere around like $400. It's called B2 fabrication, and I've seen some of their products and stuff on YouTube. A lot of good reviews about it though. That's just for the guys. If you're not trying to spend like probably at least like $1,000 or a little bit over that on exhaust system, which I think exhaust is something that's always going to be pricey, man. I ain't gonna lie, but it is definitely worth it at the end of the day. But that really comes down to you on what you plan on spending. But B2 Fab, very affordable exhaust system for your truck. or you can just simply go a muffler delete. Believe it or not, man, since I did a muffler delete on this truck, this thing sounds super good, but I do feel like at some point I've reached that point where I get tired of things so quick sometimes. Once I reached that point, because I drive this car every day, so I got to the point where it's like now, this is not even that loud to me no more. It's to the point where it's like, okay, I got to make this truck a little bit louder. Definitely got to get her a little bit more louder, but definitely sound way better than stock though, I'll tell you guys. And there's no difference though, like the 5764, they all have like that sound. Like when you hear the truck idling, they sound so much, it sounds so much way better than how it sounded before. So exhaust, next thing, that was my second thing, well, third or fourth thing I named, aftermarket exhaust. Next thing on the list, I would say you could most definitely do a custom tune. Custom tune is definitely one of the ways for you to go. Definitely is affordable, but what I recommend when you're doing like a custom tune, sometimes like I think what I recommend is if you're doing a custom tune, always make sure you only go get your tune. Like if you get in a tune or something like that, definitely go to somebody who definitely understand Mopar and definitely will be able to help you out, even if you don't know exactly what kind of tune you want to go with, whatever. But if you go to somebody who understand like Mopar and stuff, they'll be able to guide you and make sure everything, they put the right tune on your truck or car or whatever, just so you don't have to experience any kind of issue later on down the line. But all these mods that I just named, I named aftermarket core intake, 6.4 truck intake, custom tune, long tube headers and stuff like that. Also, I named. Now, all of these things you could do for a reasonable price, but me now, one thing I learned, man, like doing like any kind of modification, don't never cheap out with your mods, man. Don't try to go like the cheap route, because later on down the line, that issue could cost you. It could cause some kind of issue, believe it or not, because I did that before in the past. This was before I think this was before I had like my Ram. So back then I used to have a 2002 Ford Mustang V6. This is like my second Mustang I ever owned. But it really came from me like really doing like little stuff, mods and stuff like that. And I used to order some parts from on eBay. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I used to order parts from on eBay. And I remember I ran into an issue before where I bought this real cheap. I think it was like Lawrence Springs or something like that. And I ended up having like an issue where it ended up costing me some kind of money because of the parts that I had put on my car. It's not that it was on there the wrong way. It's just that the parts that I bought, they were real cheap. And it ended up costing me some issue later on down the line. I had to pay money to get it fixed. But I learned my lesson of it. So that's why whenever you're doing modification, like you always got to make sure you buy the right parts. Definitely you want to buy parts that have some kind of warranty, just so at the end of the day, you don't get screwed. But modification, man, I ain't gonna lie, one thing, man, it takes a lot of time and effort. When you want to modify any kind of car, it takes so much time and effort, you gotta be patient, because, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, but it's worth it at the end, though. I ain't gonna lie, it's worth it at the end. But just give you guys four or five, I think it was 5 things I named. I think it was about 5 things I named that you could do to your 5.7 Hemi Ram. It's obviously a lot more things you can do, but those are the top 5 things that I'll say that you could possibly do. And you want to make sure you do it right too, man. But so if you're on the channel right now, man, I want to ask you something. If you got any topic you want me to talk about, it's about cars, fitness. If it's about cars and fitness, whatever, you can drop that down, a comment down below. And definitely help support the channel if you haven't subscribed already. The goal, we're getting close to hitting 10K on YouTube, so you definitely want to be able to help out and support the channel, man, because I got a lot of modification I'm planning on doing to this truck, so you guys definitely want to be around for that. I go live every day, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day.